Yeah, guys. So uh, I'm sure this. In case you don't know, this is like the very first time I'm going to have an IG live. Like the very first time I'm going to have an IG live. I've never ever done this before, right? I've been on a lot of IG lives with other people as a guest on other people's shows, but this is like the very first time I'm going to be doing this. I've just not had the time to be able to curate anything that necessary. Okay, but the events of the last couple of days has pretty much. Good to see you all. Good to see you, Susan. I see you all. Thank you, blessing. Thank you, Fumito Son. I see you, mighty woman. I see you, Shegun Awolowo. I see your wave. Unity. I see you too. Yeah, I see you, Bridge Brand and PR. I see you. I see you all. Thank you for coming. Thank you all for coming. I celebrate you. Hey, Moti or Motola, I see you. I see you all. Thank you all for coming and to join this. I just want to run you through a thought very quickly, right? I just want to run you through a thought very quickly. There's so much, right, going on either. Hey, Barista Taiwo Akilabi, I see you too. Hey, PJ, GBO Dukoya, I see you. Pastor J, I see you, man. I see you. I see you guys. So I was just saying, that this is like my first IG live. I've never taken out time to have this before, right? But it's so necessary that I do this now. And I just want to address a simple issue. Pastor Tubosun, I see you. Pastor Tubosun, all the way from Canada. I see you, man of God. I see you. So guys, let me go straight to this. This is very critical. Dotun, I see you. Dotun Olatunde, I see you. Adibo Ali Bakari, I see you guys. I see you all. If I don't mention your name, please bear with me. I need to maximize the time so that I can connect with this ASAP. I'm going to try and make it available if I get it right. This is like the first time I'm doing this, so I don't even know what to press or what not to press. If I finish, I'm going to try and save it. Maybe it will give me that prompting. Maybe you guys will guide me. But this is it, guys. I just want to address a very critical issue. And that is their idea of who a hoodlum is, right? There's so many things I'm going to be throwing out in the last couple of weeks, in the next couple of weeks, but I feel it is critical that I throw this out there. Spread it. Tell anyone if you believe in what I want to say. Spread it. Send people to this post. Share this. Let people know about it. In your area of influence, understand this, talk about it, teach people in your neighborhood, spread it, set up community centers to really teach people, elites especially, right? I see a terrible injustice, and I began to mute this since last week, right? Then yesterday, I was on a live show just yesterday, and I focused on this very strongly, and someone very dear to me felt I have to put it out on my own platform, right? That is why I thought I should do this. That is why I thought I should do this. Okay, now this is the idea. The word hoodlum, let me define it for you. This is like Google. I just Googled it, so let me define it for you. It says a person who engages in crime and violence, a hooligan or gangster, a person who sorry, can everybody see me? Is network working fine? Is network working fine? Is everything great? Please let me know. Please let me know. It's just give me a signal. Is network great? Am I beaming fine? Is it clear on your side? I just need to be sure. So, hooligan, thank you. Hoodlum is a person who engages in crime and violence, a hooligan or a gangster. Now, no part of this suggests that a hoodlum is a poor person, or that a hoodlum is somebody on the street, or that a hoodlum is some street urchin or anything like that. No. What it says is that a hoodlum is a person who engages in crime and violence, a hooligan and a gangster. By this definition, a CEO can be a hoodlum, because if he engages in crime or violence or in gangsterism of any kind, right, he is a gangster, he is a hoodlum, right? So a CEO, somebody can drive a Range Rover and be a CEO. A CEO can be living in Manhattan, in New York. A hoodlum can be living on the 10th floor of the best hotel in the world and in Manhattan, in New York, and he's still a hoodlum. A hoodlum can be living in the hashes of Ajegunle or in the slums of Mushin or somewhere. But the idea of who a hoodlum is has nothing to do with the class of that person, with the societal class of that person. Like there should be a class at all. But it should have nothing to do with that. When you think of the fact that we seem to label a lot of guys on the street who are destroying, stealing, pulling down, tearing down and destroying things, robbing, cheating, killing, doing all of that, it's easy to separate them from protesters. So even the protesters and the managers of the protesters, plus the media, plus the government, everyone seems to agree that there are hoodlums and then there are peaceful protesters, right? Maybe there are peaceful protesters, but they are not about the classification. It's not about peaceful protesters and hoodlums. It's about peaceful protesters and protesters, right? Peaceful protesters and protesters. What am I saying? There is no hoodlum in a third world country, really. By the way we define who a hoodlum is, there is no hoodlum in a third world country. The people you call hoodlums, the people you like to call hoodlums, are citizens who are struggling with their own human condition. And I will explain to you. You see, as long as even change agents don't capture the sphere, right, the community that needs a problem, when something needs to be solved and it is this wide, what needs to be solved is this wide, right? And then you, by your own wrong thinking, assume it is only this wide, you are going to ignore the outer sphere of that particular problem. The problem we are dealing with maybe is 10, but in your mind, it is 6 because of the privilege of your own upbringing, because of the privilege of your own growth. You miss a lot of guys who are actually supposed to be an asset to what you do, but you label them as hoodlums, you label them as, criminals and all of that. Let me tell you what is happening. Those guys are citizens of Nigeria. You see, when Kunle Soriyan is angry with the system, when Kunle Soriyan and my likes, graduates, university graduates, MBA holders, master's degree holders, lawyers, engineers, doctors, philanthropists, celebrities, when public figures, when we are angry, I can have a peaceful protest. I can have a peaceful work of a protest. I can write an article. I can come here and talk to you guys. I can do all of that, but I'm not going to break homes. I'm not going to rob stores. I'm not going to burn anything. Why? There's too much clarity inside of me. There's too much clarity inside of me to force me to that level of expression, right? I am performing though to installed capacity. I am performing to installed capacity. You see those guys who are naming, they are the people we have denied the attention their individuality deserves. the resources their individuality deserves, the education their individuality deserves. And so they are also performing to installed capacity. They are as livid as I am. We are equal in our anger. We are equal in our frustration. We are equal in our disappointments. We are equal in our, our madness. We are equal, but we are different in our expressions. We are different in our expressions. And that difference is defined critically by installed capacity. By installed capacity, a 10 kVA generator can never perform the function of a 40 kVA generator. A 40 kVA generator can never perform the function of a 120 kVA generator. Every human being, every human systems can only perform to installed capacity. We perform to installed capacity. And so the idea is that these guys don't know any other way to interpret their pain. The common denominator between me, you, and those guys is our pain. We feel the same pain, but we have different capacity of interpretation of the pain than expression of the pain. So it is the ignorance, the zero knowledge, the weak tolerance, the ability to hold complex models like grit, like endurance, like patience, like fortitude, right? Like judgment, sound judgment. All of that elude those guys. And so what has happened to them is that they are, poor people who have not been paid attention to at all. They are at the bottom of the triangle. They did not have the privilege of your type of mom. They did not have the privilege of your type of dad. They did not have the privilege of your type of neighborhood and upbringing. They did not have the privilege of your type of education. They did not read the magazines you read. They did not see the cartoons you saw. They did not read the comics you read. They never read the novels you read. They did not have your education. They didn't have your BSc. They were not in any university. And so they have not learned the simple borderlines of love, of care, a sense of thoroughness at the level that you have learned it. They have a wife, and some of them love their wives. They have children, and they love their children. They are expressing the dimension of love they understand and given the resources they understand to these children, right? But they are not doing it at the level you are doing it. To assume that they are hoodlums, they are CEOs, rich people who are criminals, according to the definition. They are rich people who are stealing. They are rich people who are violent. They are rich people who are gangsters, who control a lot of other gangsters, right? And they are not less a hoodlum. They are not less a hoodlum. So we need to come higher in our thinking and recognize that these are also citizens of Nigeria deserving attention. The problem is agitation should never precede education. Agitation should never precede education. When agitation precedes education, it creates chaos. It creates chaos. Education should precede agitation. And let me talk to you about education, please. I'm not talking about academics. No, I'm not talking about academics at all. I am talking about the capacity of the human life to experience its environment. To first of all experience its environment, then to question it deep enough to find the options that exist in it, and then to know the ones to embrace as a matter of supreme importance and urgency. I'll take that again. Education is the ability of the human life or the human spirit to experience its world, to experience its environment, to question it deep enough to find the options that exist in it, and to know the ones to embrace as a matter of supreme importance and urgency. You see, by that definition, so many people are not educated, even at PhD level. Why? Because they cannot experience their environment. When they do, they cannot question it deep enough. to find the options that exist in it. And when the human life is not able to create options in whatever circumstances, right, it defines its own suboptimal status. And that exactly is what is happening to these people we call hoodlums, we call thugs, and all of that. You actually think that a street urchin will be thinking like you do and operate like you do when you want to do a Nigerian thing. If you want to do a Nigerian thing, then you have to consider every Nigerian. You have to put every Nigerian in your strategy. Those at the bottom of the triangle, those at the middle of the triangle, those at the top of the triangle. That is what we have to learn, right? And you have to factor all of that in. And it's like you want to plan a concert in Tafawa Balewa Square. You have to think about those guys who are awake in the night at Tafawa Balewa Square, who are not doing anything. And you have to consider how to relate with them and carry them along in your concern or in your initiative, right? So part of what has happened is a lot of agitation has preceded education. And when I say education, I mean the mass consciousness of the people. We have not invested enough in the education of the people at that level. As a matter of fact, we point fingers at them. We label them. We don't hear them. When Nigerians are talking about bad government, they are talking about bad government towards the elites, towards the educated, towards the orderly. That you are more orderly than I am is a result of influence and training. It doesn't make you a better human being than me. So we give them names. We call them Agbero. We call them, all kinds of names, right? And because somebody is smoking Indian hemp and he doesn't look tidy and he's a bus conductor, you just assume this guy is a hoodlum. That is not necessarily so. It just means that he's poor. He's poor. And when he's faced with an option, when he's angry, he's going to express that anger at the level of his capacity. And so what has happened is those guys, like the singer said, they are the monsters that we made. The government made them. The media labeled them. The elites, right, spread that labeling. The conscious upheld it. Those with education segregated them. And so we have two types of citizens. Those we call citizens who are more orderly, who have decorum, who have, are polished, who are conscious, who are, who know etiquette, who know those basic borderlines of behavior. Then the ones we ignore, that we never taught, that we did not give resources and capacity. Has it ever occurred to you that both the armed robber, the police officer, the so-called hoodlums have one thing in common? They grew up in the same neighborhood. Do you know anybody who grew up in Ikoyi that want to be a sergeant in the police force? The guys who joined the police force themselves did not join to pay any supreme sacrifice. They joined to live. They went into the police force to live. That's it. A lot of people who joined the police force did not join because they wanted to pay the supreme price if necessary. No. The armed robber and the police officer and the hoodlum, they are all friends in Mushin. They are all friends in Ajegule. They are all friends in Shomolu. They are all friends in those areas we don't want to visit. They grew up together. They knew each other. They met in the joints. They were friends on the street, right? And then when they grew older and Nigeria failed to offer them the options their individuality deserves, they had to begin to pay attention to their economics. And all of them did not have the capacity to decide right. You, because of your education and the exposure of your parents, you had the option, but you will never have chosen the police force. You will never. Don't you know that choosing to be in the police force in Nigeria itself is a proof of their bad decision system? Because police force cannot reward you. It cannot give you the twilight you deserve as a human being. It cannot allow you to go on holiday, to send your kids abroad, or to give them the best education you can afford. It doesn't give you all of that. Then you've killed the public schools. You have taken all the private schools, right? The private schools in Nigeria, just in case you don't know, were only able to grow because the public schools were killed. And the elites killed the public schools, and the sons of the poor cannot have any school to attend anymore. And so everybody must find money to please the rich, as it were, to go to elitist schools. And when you attend Corona and you attend, Grange, and you attend the quality schools, you point fingers at those who are in Ajangbadi primary school. Of course, who are they? They are your house help. They are all of that. You see, these are the issues we have to face. Let me tell you something. You have a house help in your house. You have a house help in your house. You want the house help to arrange your house the way you arrange it. You want her to know the difference between white wine glass and red wine glass. You want her to know the difference between a pillow from Dubai and with one feather in it and another type of pillow. You want her to know the difference between a teaspoon, a soup spoon, right? You want her to know the difference between, tablespoon and all of that. All of those things that are in your head, do you know what it took you to know those things? You went to school. You watch movies, American movies all your life, blinded by Hollywood and Western culture. You read books. You read comics. You read novels. You watch movies. You went to school. You have a master's degree. All of that is what created you. Then you brought a girl into your house. You brought a girl into your house who grew up in an amala joint. And you want her to arrange the house like you arrange the house. Come on. To arrange the house like you arrange the house. In other words, you want her to think like you. Right? To think like you. If she can really think like you, if she can really arrange the house like you can, will she be a house help in your house? Won't you be a madam in another house? You see? So when you scream on her and you shout on her, you are killing her twice. She's dead in her state. Your shout is double jeopardy. Even in law, you are not supposed to punish somebody for the same offense twice. Even in scripture, affliction shall not raise its head twice. Don't you know that rich people die once, the poor die twice? When you threaten the poor with police, when you threaten all of those people, you threaten them with arrest and all of that. You don't know what you are doing. In Malaysia, they say if you traffic cocaine and you are caught, you will be killed. Yet, these guys still traffic it. You know why? Because you are telling somebody who is dead that you will kill him, right? Poor people die twice. They die twice. They die while living. Their physical death is a second death. It's a second death. And so you are threatening a dead man with arrest or that you will kill him. You are wasting your time, right? Because he cannot fulfill the ideas of his own soul. He cannot pursue the creativity of his own spirit. And he has to condemn himself to walk within the options the system makes available. You see, that is a tough thing to do. And let me conclude by saying this. This is very important. You don't become a thief because you stole. You don't become a thief because you stole. You steal because you are a thief. Such that if you don't ever have the misfortune of stealing in your lifetime, it doesn't make you less a thief. If you are a thief, whatever made you a thief. You see, even if you don't ever steal, right? Even in good people, the potential for evil on a large scale exists. Even in good people, the potential for evil on a large scale exists, given the right pressure. You see, when you put pressure on a thing, the content of the thing is revealed. When you put pressure on a thing, the content of the thing is revealed. When you step on a cockroach, blood cannot come out. When you step on a cockroach, blood cannot come out. Why can't blood come out? Because it doesn't have blood. It doesn't have blood. When you squeeze a car, what's going to come out? Oil, water, and metal, right? Blood is not going to come out except there's a human being in it. Milk will not come out except there's milk in it. When you put pressure on a thing, the content of the thing is revealed. You see, when you hear, you say, oh, my husband slapped me. My husband slapped me. And people say, my husband changed when we got married. No, your husband did not change. Your husband was revealed. People rarely change. They are revealed. crisis and pressure reveal us. The Bible says when you fail in the days of adversity, your strength is low. Don't fool yourself and say, how can that happen to me? It can happen to you. What happens to you is what can happen to you. If it cannot happen to you, it will not happen to you. What you do is what you can do. What you cannot do, you don't do. It's as simple as that. And so whatever blinded you that it can happen to you, well, the situation is opening your eyes now. So you see somebody in government, they say, oh, government changed him. Government changed the guy. The guy got into government and changed. No, government did not change him. Government revealed him. You know why? Because the government is a pressurized environment. It's a pressurized environment. And there's pressure in government. So when you get into government, just like that cockroach, the environment will put you under pressure. But what comes out of you is a revelation of who you are. The person in government, when the pressure comes, is meeting himself for the first time. We are also meeting him for the first time. Government is introducing him to him for the first time. And then he is being introduced to us as well for the first time. You know, if you slap your wife or you raise your voice on your wife, it's because you are a slapper, period. There's nothing like, oh, you know, it's what she said. She said this to me. She said that to me. You know, when she said this, I was angry and I lost control. No, it's not what she said. No doubt, what she said puts you under pressure. No doubt. But what you did is a result of who you are. You don't slap because somebody said something to you. You slap because you are a slapper. Somebody else who doesn't know how to slap we hear what you heard, be as provoked as you were provoked, be as mad and angry as you were. Because he doesn't know how to slap, he will pick his jacket and go for a walk because he doesn't know how to slap. When you slap, you are a slapper. Whatever you do is what you can do. And so coming back to the so-called hoodlums, it is, you know, as the singer said, they are the demons you made. They are the monsters you have made. The resources you did not put inside of them has created a wretchedness inside of them that is giving you a vicious, terrible experience outside of them. So life is inside out. Is whatever is inside that you feel on the outside. Even Jesus said, it is not what goes into the man from outside that defiles him. It's what comes out of the man that defiles him. From the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. Out of the heart proceeds the issues of life. So don't get it wrong. Those guys are they are behaving to installed capacity. The system has failed them. You know the problem I see? Because I've been on the left side of life. I've done terrible things I should not talk about. You know my story. But let me tell you something. When a child is going to jail, when a young person is going to jail, he goes alone, but he should not. There are so many people that should go to jail with him, that should walk with him to jail. But the system does not capture the effects and the journey to a crime. The only thing they capture is the crime. And when you focus on the crime, you will punish the representative of the real perpetrators of the crime. When a child is going to jail, the mother should go there. The father should go. The brothers, drivers, so many people who abuse the child should go with the child. But the law does not capture that. The law only captures the final guy who did the action, sadly. And so it's easy to begin to point fingers at these hoodlums. You know what you are doing? You are not different from when you sit down in your house saying NEPA is stupid. Correct. PDP is mad. Correct. APC is crazy. Correct. There's no bad road. Correct. Our banks are silly. Correct. But after you are done with all your correction, you must now ask yourself what you want. Do you want to be correct or you want to progress? Because if you want to be correct, sit in front of your house, sit down there and start pointing fingers at everything wrong. You'll be correct, but will that put a dime in your pocket? Will that move you forward for 1 second? No. You are just sitting down, pointing fingers and fooling yourself as to your own, wretchedness and staying in your denial. You have to grow up to understand that you are more responsible in the equation than you think, that you dare to think. So what do you need to do? Put the blame where it should be. So you can't sit down and be blaming the hoodlums and say hoodlums did this, hoodlums did that. No, those are Nigerian citizens that Nigeria did not give the capacity they need to interpret their pain rightly, and they are interpreting it wrong. On another level, depending on where you sit, a lot of the crimes in Nigeria are almost justifiable. By this, don't get me wrong, I am not saying that people should kill or people should rob, but that is our reality. If we hate it, then let us work to change it. To those who are behind the scene, even the protesters who are busy pointing fingers at the hoodlums, recognize that part of the gaps in the organization of the protest itself is the idea that agitation by any standard can precede education and can precede empowerment and can precede vision. So if you have not taken time to invest in those people, the system knows there's nothing the government has done that is strange. The system knows that all they have to do is to take away the conscience of the protest, and the poor and the weak and the mentally and internally, emotionally weak will be derailed, will be disillusioned. They say, strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. What you are experiencing is the scattering of the sheep, because the shepherds, the protesters, the conscious elites have been taken out of the picture. And so the guys at the bottom of the triangle don't know what to do. So they, with their boldness and their courage, they despise the curfew, they hit the road, and they began to do all kinds of things. And they began to maim and do all sorts in their anger by what they can think about, by what they can supply, by the intelligence they can supply. So what is going to happen is we need to organize better and know that Nigeria cannot be fixed even in 2023. 2023 at best will be a good beginning, will be a good move. But I assure you, until we begin to think about the masses of our people at the bottom of the triangle, the same people who supported the protest, the young people, the so-called hoodlums, supported the protest all through when it was peaceful. The moment they were scattered, the leaders, the guys in front were scattered, they lost direction. Of course, there are also other people that were not even in the protest at all, thugs, really, in that terms, who are beyond hunger, who are beyond all of that were sent in. But even those have been conditioned by the history of poverty. And so the people with capacity know how to live. For years, they have kept the masses of the people ignorant, so that they can only be controlled by welfare economics. And so some people say, well, 2023 is our base. 2023 is a long time. We still have the whole of 2021 in front of us, the whole of 2022 in front of us, and then some parts of 2023. If we just sit down and just continue to hope is not a strategy. Anger is not a strategy. Determination is not a strategy. People don't fail because there's no teacher in class. People fail because the teacher did not teach well, right? And the student did not comprehend. These are the factors we must bring in and organize better. I respect non-profits more than I respect political parties. Organizing to think about the education of our people. I'm going to find time on a Zoom call, on a Zoom session to deal with how we can educate the masses of our people. I have more concern for the masses of our people, because as long as the masses of our people are ignorant, whatever initiative will always be attacked, discredited by using and engaging the masses of our people at the bottom of the triangle. You see, there's no way you can keep a strategy at the top and miss the organization and mobilization of the people at the bottom of the triangle. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to them. It's going to come down to the guys at the bottom of the triangle. As you can see, whether you organize right or you organize wrong, the success of the movement, the highest penetration of any movement, must consider the people at the bottom of the triangle. When you get angry, you cry. Cry must have a lifespan. I've said it from day one. NSAS is a cry. It's not a strategy. The government, in its arrogance, does not see that. It beats me every time. In every protest, they come and clamp down on it like it can lead to regime change. I've never in my life, with all I know, with all I have studied of revolutions, I've never seen any revolution, right, out there in the public space that does not have the people at the bottom of the triangle as a critical part of its sustainability agenda. I have never seen it. Whether it's a peaceful revolution, whether it's a violent revolution, and don't get me wrong, I don't believe in violence. I believe in mental weaponry and spiritual clarity. That's what I believe in. And that is the destiny and the future of Nigeria. You don't know what Nigeria is? If a revolution happens in Nigeria now, a violent revolution, and people die, tomorrow we will say, hey, revolution, people, hey, they've killed people. By next week, they will say, how many Igbos died? How many Yorubas died? How many Hausas died? It's a Yoruba revolution. It's a Igbo revolution. It's an Igbo revolution. It's a Hausa revolution. You know why? It's a Fulani revolution. You know why? Because agitation has preceded education. There must be education. And while I disagree totally with any form of violence in any form, I can't articulate value outside a call to non-violence, mental weaponry, and spiritual clarity. But in doing that, we must learn to invest in education first. Please, I don't mean academics. I mean informal education. We should invest in the socioeconomic consciousness of our people. We should invest in the political consciousness of our people by spreading that knowledge. People don't need to go to university to have that one. It's informal knowledge, consciousness. We should spread that. We should defeat English language. I'm going to come to that on another Zoom call or something. But understand that every time agitation precedes education, this is what it creates. This is what it creates. And by that, I don't cast aspersion on the NSAS protest. I believe in NSAS. I celebrated NSAS. I spoke for NSAS. But I must tell you something. You must know that a pencil is a pencil, not a knife. No matter how determined you are, you want to kill someone with a pencil, you have to understand that it is a pencil. It's not a pistol, and it's not a knife. So that you can place the demand of a pencil on it. You don't hold the pencil and put a demand of a gun on it. It will never shoot. It's a pencil, not a pistol. That is how you must think. NSAS is a cry. It's not a strategy. It's clear. It has no life or strategy in it. It was just a cry. And a cry must be heard. Our government is silly because it punishes a cry. You can't slap me and tell me how to cry. You can't slap me and tell me how to cry. You have to choose one. It's either you want to tell me how to cry, or you want to tell me to stop crying, or you don't want to slap me. But if you slap me, you have lost your right to tell me how to cry. I have a right to cry when I want, how I want, when I want, for how long I want. There's nothing you can do about that. You must choose one. You cannot slap somebody and tell him how to cry. However, the crier must also know that I can't cry forever. Crying by design must have a lifespan. Do you know anybody that cries forever? Tears biologically cannot drop consistently forever. It's not possible. So no matter how long you cry, you have to stop crying at a point. And when you stop crying, you must do two things. Yield to the oppression by accepting that I've been abused. Okay, let me stop crying and accept my fate. Or accept that you are a casualty or a victim. Or go back to meet your oppressor. So if I collect your phone from you, you can cry initially, but after crying for a while, you must stop to say, so how do I get my phone back? If I collect your shoe from you, it's okay if you start crying, but after a while, your crying must morph into a strategy on how to get your shoe or your phone back from me. So no matter how long you cry, you have to morph the tears into strategy at some point. And then when a child is crying and he enters a room and crying, what do you ask the child? What do you want? What do you want? So negotiation is critical. It's critical. How we do that can be borderless. I've said that time and again, but we have to understand, the limits of a demand. And I'm not saying we should stop demanding anything, but the how of that demand must be changing, because the demand is the mission. The how is the method. Mission must never change. It's timeless. But method must be changing in response to changing situation, changing scenarios, changing people, changing markets, changing times. We must be innovating the method while we stay loyal to the mission. Those are the issues. And so the reality in the situation is we got to think differently. We got to organize differently. And we have to make a call to mental weaponry. Mental weaponry. I don't know. Let me tell you something. There are 3 types of movements. You see some movements that start with a logo, that starts with a leader, that starts with a brand name. You know, they don't go anywhere. They don't go anywhere. They don't go anywhere. You know what they achieve? They make the leaders popular. They make the leaders popular. For example, I'll give you an example. Revolution Now, they make the leader popular. Bring Back Our Girls, they make the leader. Occupy Nigeria, they make the leader popular. By this, I'm not saying those movements are wrong, but their hows need to be addressed. Their mission can be altruistic any day, but the method is not aligned with that agenda. And so it's brought in dead. It's not going anywhere. You can get emotional, you can get sentimental, you can get but it's not. There's something called BID, brought in dead. This thing is a pencil, it cannot shoot. This thing is a pistol, it's not a grenade. You cannot use an instrument beyond the design of the manufacturer. A device has limited capacity in line with its design. If you have a goal, you must ensure that the instrument of delivering your goal has the capacity to deliver it. Otherwise, you are wasting time, like trying to get a chicken to wrap, like trying to get a snake to jog. It's not possible. If you need joggers, you have to get human beings. If you need crawling, maybe you can get a snake. But different devices for different goals. This is how we must think. This is how we must articulate going forward. And I want to assure you, stop pulling down the poor. Stop labeling the poor. Stop giving them names. They are just differently expressed. This expressive of the same thing you express. The poor is as angry as you, but they don't have the clarity to come on Instagram. I hear people, celebrities coming online and talking to the masses and talking to the hoodlums. Stop looting. The hoodlums are not here. They are not listening to you. They don't even understand what you are saying. They don't even understand your grammar. They don't get it. The guys that are burning, that are looting, that are killing, they don't understand your language. If you want to talk to them, you have to go to the streets. You can't sit on your social media, on your Zoom, on your Instagram and be blowing big grammar. It's not going to work that way. You didn't train them that way. The system did not train them to listen to order. They are trained to thrive inside chaos. Let me tell you something. I did an experiment some years ago. I took 4 terrible, loud area boys. Boisterous, loud. They cannot keep quiet for a minute. We took them, we paid them, we blindfolded them. And we took them to the lobby of Sheraton Hotel. And then we released them. They were making noise all the time. They were on blindfold. They were talking, gisting. The moment they got into the lobby and we removed the blindfold, they were calm instantly. You know why? They are not designed to thrive, express themselves in order. The accurate arrangement of things is a threat to them. They thrive in chaos. So when you throw somebody who grew up in Mushin in the midst of death, chaos, everything is upside down, he will be making, when you put him in an environment of order, he will just behave. He can't predict what is going on here. He is in an unfamiliar zone. He cannot put himself together. You see, that person has within him the capacity to behave. But the environment is plugged into unlocks his wretchedness. Some of those wretchedness are inside of you too. You can kill. Given the right circumstance, you will in self-defense, in the defense of something. To you, it may be your family. An armed robber comes into your life, into your house, it shoots your driver, it shoots your house help. Then it's about to shoot you, and then the gun fell from his hand, and you picked it up. Do you say, praise the Lord? No, you are going to shoot him, because as he drops, he's picking another gun, and he's loading it, and you have his gun in your hand. What are you going to do? You won't say, hey, stop. You won't be singing for him, blah, blah, blah. No, you are going to shoot. You can kill. In that case, you are defending your family. In his own case, he's defending his decency, his humanity, his integrity, his destiny, his future. He will never have you put him in your house, he sees your children grow up before you. They became adults. They started running businesses. He was right there. They say, after 25 years, he just kidnapped. What do you think? For 25 years, you thought he was faithful. He was enduring the truth that your children can prosper. He saw them born. He saw them grew. He saw them become adults and powerful. And he saw his own life on one spot. What do you think he's going to do? Internally is going to revolt. It's not something he can control. You are the one that is dangling progress before him without carrying him along. I see people who can pay a cook, they can pay a driver 200,000. They can afford it. They won't feel it, but they won't. They will pay that house help the same 20,000. They will say it's industry standard. They are paying by the level of the poverty of the system, not by the strength of their own character and the weight of their pocket. It's sad. People used to tell me that when I used to keep a chef in my house in Nigeria, I said, why are you paying him that much? I said, I'm paying him this much because income must do three things. Income must do three things. It must allow him to take care of the basics of his life, to eat, to sleep, to go out, to buy, to wear clothes. Income must do that. Income must allow him to save and put something aside, no matter how small. Income must allow him to bless his environment and give one or two people he knows a support. Any income that cannot do those three is not an income, is slavery. Is slavery. And so we have slaves all over our homes, and we say we have domestic help. And when their faculty revolts and it results in kidnap, in poisoning, in attack, in killings, we point fingers to them. Have we gone to them to check the welfare of those people? How they are growing, how they are expanding? Can they dream? Can they know that in the next 5 years, I will not be doing this anymore? I will be in the university. Can they grow? No. You keep them in your house. Use them to free yourself to do all the work you want to do and keep their own life on one spot. Because when you travel, you bring a t-shirt. When you travel, you pay rubbish. You got to, and when I get back to a child, I didn't have a child for 9 years. When I finally had a child, I thought to myself, I'm going to leave this guy to take care of my child. This lady is going to be in my house. How am I going to cope? You know, this guy can be poisoning us every day, spitting in our food. He was our chef. Spitting our food and give it, we'll be eating it with pride. We'll be eating the food with confidence, and he's spitting in it every day. So I said, I have to unlock happiness in this guy without his approval. I'm not going to make him happy because he's telling me. I don't want to know he's happy because he said he's happy. I need to know he's happy because I created the happiness. So I'm going to rent a space in his head and fund whatever it is that God gives me grace and unlock happiness inside of him so that I can be at rest, that I've taken care of the best I can do. The remaining level of nuisance, I leave it in the hand of God because I have done the best I can do. And God will never put your miracle beyond your reach, and he will never put it in the hands of your adversary. Guys, this is where I end today. Think about that, and change your thinking. Like I said, spread this thinking. Push it into your neighborhood. The next time you see a driver, don't pull him down. The next time you see people like that, the organizer, the street urchin, the guy begging on the road, take it easy. Somebody said, it's not blind. It's not blind. You can see, it's just pretending. I asked the person, if you are as you are now, what can happen to you? That the only way you can raise money now is to go and act as a beggar on the road. Can you do it? Don't you know that because he's begging on the road is already the highest expression of his lowest human state? Can't you see that that's why he's even begging? What can happen to you to make you a beggar today? What can happen to you? What can happen to you? You cannot even imagine yourself begging on the streets. That the guy is begging on the street, can't you see that he's already defeated? His soul is dead. His clarity is gone. His destiny is defeated. His mind is arrested. And he has even if he's lying. They say, boy, he's lying. I said, but you are a Christian. The Bible says, he that lends to the poor, he that gives to the poor lends to the Lord. The Bible did not say he that lends to the truthful poor. He didn't say the truthful poor or the lying poor. He said the poor. He did not describe his character. Whether he is a lying poor man or a truthful poor man, he is still a poor man. He said that you have money to give him or you shut up and get out of the scene, man. When you see a poor man, don't be questioning his veracity of his claims. He's a poor man. What do you think? A lying poor and a truthful poor, both of them are still poor. And the Bible did not say he that gives to a truthful poor. It said he that gives to the poor, regardless of his character, is still a poor man. Give to him or get out of the sin, man. Go home or do something or go home, they say in Texas. That is the way to think about these things, guys. And so wear your thinking cap. The next time you want to, but let me tell you something. These same people, they keep companies going. The people you call hoodlums, the people at the bottom of the triangle, they are the ones that keep gala going. Or who is buying gala? Is it rich people that are buying gala? Have you ever seen gala product in a shopping mall? Where do you see gala? Traffic and the shop of the malam. You see gala in only two places. Traffic and the shop of the malam. Why? It's designed for the poor. They are the guys buying it. They represent something in society. And then you sit down in your comfort zone, sipping gin and juice, pointing fingers to where the doer of deed could have done better. You need to come home, man, and wake up, come down from your high horse and sit in a place where you can have helicopter view over society and be a true statesman who considers the lowest amongst us and considers the highest amongst us and apportion responsibility according to the capacity that we have created. That is how change will happen. The next time you want to sell a product, you want to move an idea, you want to do a protest, you want to drive a vision, you want to run a company, you need customers, you need buyers, whatever it is you need, recognize that there is a society. There are different kinds of people in that society. Don't confuse what is easy for you to do for what is easy to do at all. I'll say that again. Don't confuse what is easy for you to do for what is easy to do at all. Some things are easy for you, they don't make them easy. I learned that in my own office. I'm a hard worker. I am diligent. I drive work like crazy. And I used to hold my people in my office accountable to my standard of work. I used to hold them, do this, work all night, do that. That is me. They are not me. They don't have my pursuit. They don't have my history. What is chasing me is not chasing them. A lion is after me. A chicken is after them. How can we run in the same way? We have to respect that. So I had to grow up. I had to become mature to know that because it is easy for me, does not make it easy. Don't confuse what is easy for you to do for what is easy. Tough things are not easy. And they are easy for you because of your exposure and your training. Let us spend time to know that our greatest responsibility is not to change political office. In fact, me, as I sit here, I don't trust any politician, no matter who you are. Once you say you are a politician, I will relate with you, I will engage you, but there's a dimension of trust when it comes to altruism I cannot trust. I trust non-profits more, development works more, right? We have to work to educate the masses so that they can interpret better. And when we do that, it's not just for politics, it's not just for revolutions, no, it's not just for protest. When we educate them, they can take responsibility for their business. They can create options. They can build ideas. They can drive them, model them. They can pursue them. That's how it works. You see, in America, you don't have to go to school. University education is an option, not a prerequisite to success. You don't need to go to university to succeed in the United States. People want to be like Bill Gates. They say he didn't go to school. In Nigeria, if you don't go to school, you will be poor mercilessly. Because in Nigeria, going to school is a precursor. It's not even a guarantee. It's just a precursor. In America, even if you don't go to school, there are options in abundance that will make you a billionaire without going to school. You don't have that where you are. And so don't just copy people. If we have not created room for the private schools, so most of us went to public schools. I went to a public school. I was trained in a public school. And I became all I've become today. I went left, but I went right later. The idea is our public schools have to go. We have to ask ourselves, how come it is the sons of chauffeurs, the sons of house helps, the daughters of security guards that are in the public schools? Why? So you elite that is shouting, NSAS, we should regulate private schools and only create as much private schools as we can grow 10 public schools per one private schools with facility, with all of that. The neighborhood should come around public schools. If you have a public school in Adeyin Jones in Ikeja or in Oba Akran somewhere, let the taxis of that place, the people in that place, focus on the public school there. Provide computers, create electronic boards, create good teachers, pay the salaries. Think bigger about a new system for education, both formally and informally. But to sit in your cocoon, selective reasoning and selective accusations. I create a poverty somewhere, but I point fingers at the poverty that affects me and that binds all of us together. That's not right. When we understand that the Nigerians deserve an equality that transcends the limits of our class, of our tribe, of our ethnicity and religion, we are willing to make equal the borderlines of misery and bliss, then we are ready for true change. The type that consider that citizens are just hoodlums is a big mistake that will continue to empower you to plan, but you will miss the helicopter view that we consider that those hoodlums are actually assets ignored. Assets ignored. When we ignore assets, they become liabilities because there's no demilitarized zone. The hoodlums, over 90% of them are not hoodlums. They are citizens without the clarity to interpret their pain and their frustration. And so they react and misbehave and are unguarded, and that is what we see out there. I need to go, but get out of your comfort zones, guys. I'm sweating all over. I don't even know why I'm sweating so terribly. I'm in fall. It's supposed to be cold here, but I guess it's passion. Forgive me. But go out of your space. Listen to this again. I'm going to try. Please, what do I need to do to save this? I've never done IG Live before. Can you believe it? What do I need to do to save this? I need to save it so that it can go into my post and it can be replayed. What do I need to do? Can somebody guide me? What do I need to do? Should I just press end because I'm done? Should I just press end and it goes like that? What should I do? Can somebody help me? Should I just press end? I need instruction, please. Yeah, just guide me. So I just press end and I save, right? Share. Where is share? Where do I see share? How is the button of the share? John, deliver me. John, I see you. John Obedi, deliver me. How do I save this? Time is running. Can somebody, how do I save it? Okay, I should press end. Yes, press end. Okay, I should press end. Okay. Are you sure you want to end your live session?